Hello, good afternoon, Instagram and Facebook. It's Zoe for Feature Friday. Haven't done one in a little while, but just wanted to come on to talk about something that comes up so often, which is recommendations. So quite often, before you have a baby, you might ask your friends who have children what they found really useful. And quite often what will happen is people will say, oh, this sling, insert any name, is amazing, you need to get one. And so what happens is that you maybe go and buy that sling or carrier, and then you try and use it and it doesn't work for you. And so then you think, oh, well, carrying isn't for me. It's not something I can do with my baby. And so maybe then you stop and you don't carry your baby. Obviously you will in arms because babies can't move around themselves. So we often say that maybe we don't carry our babies when really we do. But it's a real shame because it means that many people might miss out on using a sling or carrier that actually does fit them really, really well. So firstly, recommendations. Please don't go there. Find a consultant or a sling library or someone that will work with you to find what works for you, because it's very much individual, a bit like clothing, a bit like shoes, a bit like jeans. It's so individual as to what everybody likes. And a big thing around carriers, depending on which ones you're using, like the fit of your body, the length of your body, the width of your shoulders, the angle of your shoulders, how your back is, how the ratio between your waist and your hips, the size of your landscape, all of these things, plus any other health concerns, or if you have pelvic floor concerns, back issues, historic injuries perhaps. These are all things that somebody like myself takes into account when we work with you to find a sling or carrier. So I know for a fact that there are slings and carriers on the market that I have in the sling library that just don't fit my body very well. And if that's what I had chosen to spend that money on, I would make it work. I could absolutely keep using it. Would it be the most comfortable sling or carrier for me? No, it wouldn't. Might it mean I wouldn't carry my child as much? Possibly. So it's just a reminder really of what we're here for and why we do what we do. And that's really because a lot of people come to us with slings or carriers that have been given to them, but they just don't find can work for them. So please reach out if you need support with a sling or carrier. We can always help. Most consultants will always work with what you have, but sometimes that's just not going to work for you. And so it's worth exploring other options. I think it's useful to think of it like a car seat. You're going to go and check a car seat will fit in your car, that it fits in your buggy, that you have the right adapters. And that's a big investment. And if it doesn't work, then you're still going to probably have to use it because it's something that you need to use for safety. Whereas perhaps with slings, we don't maybe do that because we have other options, right? But it means that we miss out potentially on lots of opportunities and a really useful tool that can help us parent. And there is no judgment on what works for one person or another. Some people don't want to learn a stretchy wrap. Some people find it really overwhelming. Some people would much prefer a buckle carrier. Other people don't like buckle carriers and they would prefer to use a wrap. And we're here to support you in whatever that goal kind of looks like for you, whether you want to carry your newborn or your 2-year-old or your 4-year-old. There is always going to be an option for you. Another thing is often you'll see online, the top, the best carriers, or you might see kind of lists compiled in places, so awards, the best carrier. I would always just put a little bit of a red flag there and just say sometimes these things are not created equal, because quite often companies have to pay to enter these sorts of things. And so just because you see those names around a lot, it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be a good sling or carrier for you. It doesn't mean that they are the best, because the best is one that you will use and that is comfortable for you. Now, something I would say is that we don't always know what's comfortable until maybe it's been adjusted. So quite often in a consult, people will do the thing and then I'll go over and they'll say, yeah, it's comfy. And then I might say, okay, well, let's just bring the strap round, pull it under, tighten it a little bit more, lift it. And then people are like, oh, no, that's comfortable. And so again, it's always just worth checking how you're using something. I have lots of videos and reels that can show you and talk through some of these things. So just how you put it on, how you're lifting the carrier up, how you're adjusting your shoulder straps are all little things that really impact your comfort. And so it's just really to say, don't go off what someone else tells you as a recommendation for a sling or carrier. You know, I see it a lot. People will put something in their stories, tell me what sling or carrier you recommend. And I've seen people buy them and I'm like, oh, that's possibly not going to work for you. And I hope it does, but it just isn't always the case. You know, if you have a short torso, it's going to be a bit different to somebody with a really long torso. And that's where sometimes it can be really useful for partners, if they're using carriers a lot, to have their own sling or carrier, because if we are very different body shapes, there are going to be different slings or carriers that suit those body shapes best. And so if it's something that you're carrying a lot and they're going to choose to carry a lot, then maybe get your own slings or carriers. But yeah, it's just to say, you know, somebody like myself, we don't charge a huge amount of money. You know, if you're looking at, for example, an Ergo Breeze, you will be looking at spending maybe upwards of £150. Now, my services are £35 for an hour. So you will more than make that money work for you in a far better way than spending it on a carrier that perhaps just isn't going to work for you at the stage that you're at. I've had clients where we've just had to say, do you know what, that's not going to work right now. It may work when your baby is older, bigger, maybe for a back carry, or perhaps as your body has changed in that period after you've had a baby. So just, yeah, I've got a really good blog post which I will reshare into my stories called Why Slings Are Like Cars, because it really gives you a bit of perspective onto why it's so individual. Because it depends on a lot of factors. And so I tried to put it into context in a way that people might understand. Because if you're new to slings and carrying, you know, you just think they're all the same, which on the surface, pretty much they are, but they all do the thing in a slightly different way. So like a car, you can spend not a lot of money and you can spend a serious amount of money. Now, does it mean that they're better? Well, it just depends on how you're defining better. So if it gets you from A to B, then that's what they all do, right? For some, you know, a brand might be really important, a colour might be really important, how many people you can fit in the car is going to vary as to what type of car you're then going to buy, right? So it's just a really great way to try and for people to understand the nuances and how individual slings and carrying can be, and what works for one person really doesn't work for somebody else. And so don't be disheartened if the thing that your friend told you was going to be the best sling for you maybe isn't, but do come and find someone that will help you find the one that is. If you have any questions, let me know, DM me. If I don't pop on again before Christmas, have a good Christmas and Happy New Year. Let's hope that next year is going to be maybe a little bit different to this one. And I hope to see you soon and wish you all well. Take care.